Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. President Biden just moments ago on the world stage, his first global speech since the debate, what he declared. Also, the air scare in upstate New York, the close call, 2 passenger planes, and the storms moving in the Midwest right into the Northeast, and the record heat. Ginger Z is here. First tonight, President Biden moments ago speaking to world leaders, the NATO Summit in Washington, D.C. The president fully aware that world leaders and voters across this country are watching very closely. And the unexpected moment on that stage, you'll hear what the president said. The storms on the move tonight, heavy rain and wind sweeping across the Midwest into the Northeast, and the video just in of a tornado on the ground. The heat alerts from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia, New York City to Boston, as millions tonight in the South are without power after the hurricane amid life-threatening heat. Ginger with the latest forecast. That air scare, the very close call over the Syracuse airport, a Delta flight and an American Airlines regional flight. Authorities say at one point the pilots were so close they could not see the other plane. Also news tonight, a suspect was shot during an attempted carjacking right near the home of Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. The college death under investigation tonight, the hazing investigation following the death of a missing student at Dartmouth. His body found in a river with underwater cameras just 65 feet from shore. The dramatic rescue of multiple boaters after crashing at high speed right into a bridge. And tonight, take a look. The newest residents of the San Diego Zoo, the giant pandas, have arrived.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and we begin tonight with the breaking news. President Biden on the world stage just moments ago, his first global speech since the debate, standing before world leaders at the NATO Summit in Washington, D.C. Before the speech, President Biden standing alongside those leaders in the very room where NATO began. Tonight, the president marking the 75th anniversary of America's most important alliance. Those world leaders, of course, watching, American voters now watching very closely, too. And the unexpected moment at the end of the speech from the president, awarding the nation's highest civilian honor. Our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, leading us off.
Tonight, all eyes on President Biden, surrounded by world leaders as he marks the 75th anniversary of NATO.
Welcome.
Using the moment to remind America and the world what he's accomplished.
This remarkable progress, proof that our commitment is broad and deep, that we're ready, that we're willing, we're able to deter aggression and defend every inch of NATO territory across every domain: land, air, sea, cyber, and space.
It comes at a key moment in this race, the president under pressure to prove to voters, his party, and our allies that he's up to the task of taking on Trump and governing for another 4 years.
And Kyiv, remember, fellas and ladies, supposed to fall in 5 days, remember? Was still standing 2.5 years later and will continue to stand.
This as Donald Trump holds his first big rally since the debate. He's been off the trail for 10 days, laying low and playing golf, while Biden tackles the fallout from his disastrous performance. Today, the Republican Party finalizing its platform, and it includes a major change, the party abandoning its long-held support for a federal abortion ban in favor of Trump's call to leave it to the states. Today, on a campaign call, First Lady Jill Biden says voters won't buy it.
Does he think we forgot that his Supreme Court justices killed Roe v. Wade and that he brags about it? Does he think we don't know that he wants to roll back access to contraception and he could jeopardize IVF treatments? Does he think he can pivot away from a career of diminishing and denigrating women? Well, women haven't forgotten, and we can't be fooled.
One more day in this race for president. Let's get right to Mary Bruce, of course, live at the White House. And Mary, back to the president just moments ago. Of course, knowing full well the world is watching, American voters are watching with greater scrutiny. And then that unexpected moment, the president delivering a surprise honor, underscoring the importance of NATO.
And David, this really was a dramatic moment. The president, in a surprise move, bringing the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg back up to this stage, announcing that he is honoring him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. President Biden praising him for guiding the alliance through one of the most consequential periods in history. The president, David, well aware of just how high the stakes are in this moment, both here at home, but also abroad. David.
Mary Bruce leading us off tonight. Mary, thank you. One more note on this tonight, because also watching very closely in Washington, Democrats in Congress. The tense meetings today behind closed doors. Do they stand behind the president now that he's vowing to stay in this race? What they told our Rachel Scott today.
Democratic lawmakers huddling for hours today behind closed doors, wrestling with whether to stick with President Biden as their party's nominee or call on him to drop out of the race. But tonight, while there are concerns behind closed doors, many lawmakers acknowledging they have little power over the situation and that the president will be their nominee.
Are you all on the same page?
No. What do you mean you're not on the same page? They're not even in the same book.
Sources describe the meeting of House Democrats as rough. Several people who were inside telling us a number of lawmakers believe the president should quit the campaign, but are unwilling to say so publicly because Biden insists he's in it to stay. After, House Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar only saying this.
Right now, President Biden is the nominee, and we support the Democratic nominee. That will be Donald Trump.
The president is getting a boost from the powerful Congressional Black Caucus, still squarely in his camp.
Well, he's a good man. He has good policies. There's no reason to change.
We are riding with Biden. We are riding with Biden.
New York Congressman Richie Torres expressing what I've heard from a lot of Democrats up here today.
You know, if President Biden declines to leave voluntarily, then we have no choice but to support him as our nominee and make the best of a complicated situation. That's the concession to the political reality we face.
Over the weekend, Congressman Jerry Nadler told his colleagues Biden should drop out. But today, he told me this.
Whether I have concerns or not is beside the point. He's going to be our nominee, and we all have to support him.
Do you have concerns about? But some Democrats I spoke with, not there. Ohio Democrat Sherrod Brown.
Brown, do you have concerns about President Biden?
Ohioans have legitimate questions. I'm hearing that from people in Ohio, they have legitimate questions about what he does.
Do you still support President Biden?
I said Ohioans have legitimate questions about what President Biden is going to do.
That's not a yes.
I've got to chair this committee. I've got work to do.
Many Democrats on the Hill tonight saying Biden still has a lot to prove.
How confident are you that President Biden will be the Democratic nominee in November?
I'm confident at this point, but I will tell you it remains to be seen in the way he campaigns and the effectiveness of campaigning, whether he continues to be the flag bearer for our cause.
Democratic leaders say the talks will continue. Tonight, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer sticking to a tight script.
Are you confident that President Biden has what it takes to win in November and serve the next 4 years?
As I've said before, I'm with Joe.
Democrats say they'll be watching President Biden closely on the world stage at the NATO Summit, insisting it's another opportunity for the president to prove himself. In between meeting with world leaders, the president is also working the phones, having conversations with Democratic governors, the Congressional Black Caucus, and tonight meeting virtually with Democratic mayors, trying to lock in support, David.
Rachel Scott, live up on the Hill again tonight. Thank you, Rachel. We turn to the storms on the move at this hour. Heavy rain and winds in the Midwest and then right into the Northeast. And then the heat alerts for Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston. Tonight, a confirmed tornado in Mount Vernon, Indiana. These pictures just coming in. All part of the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, killing now at least 6 people in Texas, most from falling trees. Tonight, more than 2 million Americans are without power in this dangerous heat, now lining up for water and fuel. Ginger Z with the forecast and these new storms tonight, and ABC's Victor Kendo in Texas.
Tonight, more than 24 hours after Beryl slammed ashore, a trail of destruction and a race to restore power to millions in Texas. We're seeing this all over Houston. Long lines for those critical supplies like gas. Here at this gas station, the lines wrap around the block in every direction. We met Cheryl Martin in line for gas for an hour, her fuel light on for miles. Had you been using this at all just to keep cool while power was out?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the air conditioner's going, and I need the charger for the phone and the whole thing.
It's a lifeline.
It is.
Hurricane Beryl reached Cat 5 status in the Atlantic Basin, the earliest Cat 5 on record, before slamming southeast Texas Monday, inundating coastal communities and hammering Houston. Trees splitting homes. Watch as this home under construction turns to toothpicks. More than 9 inches of rain swamped vehicles. Beryl is still a formidable threat, and it's headed across the heartland, taking aim at the Northeast. downed trees and debris lining this entire block in Houston. Everyone here without power, just some of the nearly 2 million homes and businesses in the dark. Utility officials hope to cut that number in half by tomorrow night, but it could be days before it's fully restored. And right now, it feels like it's over 100 degrees. David?
Yeah, we're thinking about the millions dealing with this heat now after Beryl. Victor, thank you. Of course, these storms on the move. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z, of course, tracking it all again tonight. Hi, Ginger.
Hi, David. Lexington, Kentucky, Louisville, Cincinnati, and Nashville are all in a tornado watch. We've already seen those tornadoes spinning tonight on the remnants of Beryl. That flood watch anywhere from the south side of Chicago with flash flood warnings throughout central Illinois and into Michigan. That's for mostly tomorrow as you see that move to the north there. Lapeer, Detroit getting it by the afternoon. But you see the big yellow area and the storm starting after 2 p.m. from State College through Ithaca, Binghamton, Syracuse, all the way up to Burlington, Vermont. Now ahead of that, and before the storms break some of the heat for the Northeast, like New York City, we're going to see excessive heat warnings, talking about heat indices that could reach up to 110 degrees from Philadelphia to Baltimore to Washington, D.C. Even Charleston, West Virginia will feel like the mid-90s at points. I also want to mention that West Coast heat, it's not budging, at least for California, Nevada, Utah, and now Denver. They'll stay at 101, breaking records all the way through the rest of this week. David.
Really oppressive across most of this country. Ginger Z will be watching first thing in the morning. Thanks, Ginger. We turn next tonight to the air scare in upstate New York, the very close call over the Syracuse airport, a Delta flight and an American Airlines regional flight. Authorities say at one point the pilots were so close they could not see the other plane. Gio Benitez covers aviation.
Heart-stopping new video tonight shows yet another close call between two planes, this time over Syracuse, New York.
Wait, who's cleared to take off on 2A?
Watch this close call captured by a police dash cam. From this angle, the two regional jets, one operated by Delta Connection and the other by American Eagle, appearing to come dangerously close, getting within 1,000 feet from each other vertically. That American flight from Washington, D.C., coming in for a landing. At the same time, the Delta flight bound for New York City was taking off. Our ABC affiliate WSYR interviewing a passenger on that American Airlines plane.
You heard this swooshing noise that sounded like something out of like Top Gun. The passengers, we all kind of like made that eye contact, that awkward eye contact, or it was like, what's going on?
It's unclear how close they were horizontally. Tonight, the FAA saying it's launching an investigation.
These airplanes were way too close together. They should have never gotten that close together. Both aircraft lost that visual separation, and they didn't know where the other airplane was. That's what made this more dangerous.
And David, this has been such a problem over the last 2 years that the FAA is now ordering more rest time for air traffic controllers because the fear really is that someday one of these could be catastrophic. David.
Gio Benitez tonight. Gio, thank you. We turn to the dramatic scene near the home of Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. A deputy U.S. Marshal parked near her Washington, D.C. home, shooting an armed suspect, a carjacking suspect. Here's Pierre Thomas.
New details emerging today about an alarming incident involving gunfire near the home of Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. It was just after 1:17 a.m. Friday morning when authorities say Kentrell Flowers, 18, approached a car sitting in front of Sotomayor's home. Police say Flowers walked to the driver's door and pointed a gun at the occupants, attempting a carjacking. But what he didn't realize is that the people in the car were U.S. Marshals protecting the home of the Supreme Court Justice. One of the deputy U.S. Marshals firing 4 shots, wounding Flowers in the mouth. The second U.S. Marshal firing as well. According to police, the incident appears to be random, with no connection to Sotomayor, except being close to her home. But it's the latest in a number of attempted car thefts tied to high-profile people in the nation's capital. Last November, the Secret Service opened fire on 3 men trying to break into one of their vehicles outside the home of the president's granddaughter. And last October, Congressman Henry Cuellar was carjacked near his home, less than a mile from the Capitol.
David, the attempted carjacking comes amid a dramatic drop in violent crime in D.C. Violent crime is down 30% this year, and carjackings are down nearly 50%. But David, there still have been more than 200 carjackings so far this year in the nation's capital.
Still very unsettling indeed. Pierre, thank you. We turn to the investigation tonight into the death of a Dartmouth College student whose body was found in the Connecticut River. Authorities using an underwater camera to find him 65 feet from shore. Tonight, authorities now want to know if hazing was part of this. Here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, Dartmouth College suspending a campus fraternity and sorority while police in New Hampshire investigate the death of 20-year-old Juan Zhang and whether hazing may have played a role.
There is some evidence of some alcohol involved, certainly from witnesses. We did receive an anonymous email this morning through the college that there may be some hazing involved, so certainly we will look into that aspect of it too.
Zhang was a promising student from Delaware spending the summer on campus. Officials say he was last seen Saturday night at a social gathering by these docks. The next day, search teams scouring the river with drones and divers using an underwater camera to locate his body 65 feet offshore. Tonight, the college says as the investigation continues, it's suspended Greek organizations Alpha Phi and Beta Alpha Omega, of which Zhang was a member. School officials adding the entire Dartmouth community is grieving.
Juan was always an amazing guy. I don't think there was ever a time where I didn't see him without a smile on his face. I was very upset when we first got the news.
And David, police say so far foul play is not suspected. Neither Greek organization has commented, but Dartmouth did tell us that both faced discipline for alcohol going back to last fall, and Zhang's fraternity was still on probation. David?
Trevor Ault with us tonight as well. Thank you, Trevor. We do have one note on the economy tonight. The Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell with an upbeat report today, and analysts say it appeared a possible hint that a rate cut could be coming. Telling Congress the U.S. is, quote, no longer an overheated economy, citing a cooling jobs market and easing inflation. And while inflation hasn't hit the 2% target, Powell acknowledged that cutting interest rates too late or too little is also a risk to the economy. When we come back here tonight, the dramatic rescue of multiple boaters after crashing at high speed into a bridge. Also, U.S. health officials tonight confirming a human case of the plague and where. And tonight, the giant pandas have arrived in the U.S., and you'll meet them right here in a moment. Tonight, we have learned that former Oklahoma Senator Jim Inhofe has died days after suffering a stroke. He was that state's longest-serving senator supporting the military and America's veterans. In one of his more controversial moments, he famously brought a snowball onto the Senate floor, claiming it as evidence that global warming was not real. Senator James Lankford tonight calling him an institution in the Senate. Jim Inhofe was 89. Tonight, newly released body camera video showing the dramatic rescue of 7 boaters injured after crashing at high speed into a bridge in the Florida Keys. First responders arriving at the scene in Little Torch Key, climbing onto the 35-foot boat as it was sinking. 8 people were on board. 3 victims, including a child, were airlifted to the hospital. When we come back here tonight, health officials confirming a case of human plague right here in the U.S. And the giant pandas have now arrived. We'll show you in a moment. To the index tonight, and U.S. health officials have confirmed a human case of the plague in Pueblo County, Colorado. They're still looking for the source of the infection. Humans can be sickened through flea bites from an infected rodent or by handling an infected animal. The CDC says the plague is rare in the U.S., averaging about 7 cases a year. When we come back here tonight, the giant pandas have arrived in the U.S., their names and their personalities already. In a moment here.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, sponsored by Etsy. Keep commerce human.
Finally tonight, they're here, the newest residents of the San Diego Zoo. Tonight, we're getting a first look at the newest residents of the San Diego Zoo. 2 giant pandas now in their new home, the first to arrive in the U.S. from China in 21 years. That's 4-year-old Yun Xuan resting by the bushes. Traveling with him, Jin Bao, 3 years old, striking a pose. Tonight, the zoo telling us her name means new treasure of prosperity and abundance. Their personalities already coming through, they say. Caretakers say Jin Bao is naturally playful, very active, alert, witty, and an excellent climber. That's her right there. And Yun Xuan, he likes sleeping in. And while he's, quote, serious about his bamboo, he is mild-mannered toward others, always letting other pandas go first. We won't get to visit them just yet, the zoo's saying they need time to get used to their new habitat. Teams at the San Diego Zoo feeding them a variety of fresh bamboo, tracking their weight, their appetite, their health, to make sure they thrive here in America. The head of the San Diego Zoo tonight.
It is truly a moment where I get to pinch myself and think that I get to be a part of an organization that gets to do this, be able to have such an impact on such a remarkable species as pandas. It's just a very special moment.
And this evening, we've learned the pair are learning to respond to English too. First up, good boy and good girl. Good boy and good girl, good place to start. San Diego, not a bad place to live either. I'm David Muir. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.